Okay, so I have a video here. It's just mostly about it'll mostly about be about the the whole ordeal with the Gen 4 remakes. Things like most of the people I see, he he talking about the Gen 4 remakes are like, hey, hey, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are pretty much hating on it, when they've been mainly uh, begging for it, for several years, since like Gen and ever since like Sun and Moon came out, several years, a couple of years ago. It was like it, like these games are like what people have been, what everyone has been asking for in the Pokemon community. Yet most of the who are being vocal about it, and, and, and are are hating it all because of how how, how the designs are, which is pretty ridiculous, in my opinion. And because for me, it looks perfectly fine, and because it is the he Gen 4 remakes are are trying to pull off a faithful remake, and while also having that nostalgia um, uh, from the originals. While for, there's also Pokemon Legends Arceus that is with different graphics, except very similar to the Breath of the Wild game, and and because and people are just comparing the graphics when they don't need to. It's it pretty much look like like in terms of the Pokemon fans or like Nintendo fans in general, that they're pretty much like it's like the more loyal they are to Nintendo, the more they hate the content that they've been asking for when Nintendo actually gives them in the games and so that they've wanted. While looking at Xbox and PlayStation, and like the people who are loyal to Xbox, typically he so hate at the other, and same thing with the other side, and showing hate to the other. While Nintendo fans and say and love of the games and such from Nintendo, but the more they love them, the more or hate they show, depending on how vocal they are about it. And with me, yeah, I am very, I, I myself love a lot of the Pokemon games, but I may, but I don't ha, but I myself don't harbor any of this anger and hatred, like most of the like some people who are vocal about what they don't like. Like I have no problems with the chibi design and and brilliant diamond and shining pearl. Like those don't bother me. Like I've seen one person mention that the graphics and design and, and, that were shown in the trailer is very much of a 3DS style of a design, and not fitting for that of a game on the Switch. And, but there's gotta also consider the fact that we have Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, which are have very similar graphics and design wise. Yes, and it's like, hey, hey, like, would more likely buy a Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, simply because because I played the original Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum games and enjoyed them, and I'm willing to play the remakes simply because have enjoyed the originals. As, as a, and we were have been and given an announcement, an official announcement, and for the remakes, and like there's just no reason and like to not hate what has been begged for because but there's a whole thing where like beggars can't be choosers. There's yet so many people who are begging for trying to choose how the games look when they they don't really have much of a control over it. Uh, and like they aren't the ones who are actually designing the games. It's like if they wanted the games done right, then why aren't they work, working for Nintendo Game Freak or designing the games? It's not like if they hated the graphics of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl because they're not like the graphics for Zelda Breath of the Wild, then they can just wait until Pokemon Legends Arceus comes out. Because that game has graphics more like to to the graphics of Breath of the Wild. It's because people who wanted the Pokemon games with Breath of the Wild's graphics has Legends Arceus, and people who wanted games that are that have nostalgia has the Diamond and Pearl remakes. So I don't really see why people must find something to hate. When it comes to what they've been begging for several years. It's like I'll end up buying a, a Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl when they come out, or at least sometime soon after. Uh, and when Pokemon Legends Arceus comes out, I will end up getting that as well. It's like hey, Nintendo knows that that despite any hate hatred that they get, that people will still buy the game. It's like that they know that and and pretty much know that regardless of that they'll still make profits. So for people who are watching this is with a more biased viewpoints and uh, it should really consider like how Nintendo went about this because Nintendo has gave if all of you who wanted Breath of the Wild graphics, a game with those graphics that you want in a Pokemon game, while all of you who wanted nostalgia have Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. But plus, there's also the fact that I do believe that the Legends Arceus it pretty much is like that style of a game is like the future of the main series games where that will end up being third her game um, eh, paired with that's the, like a prequel. We're like we might end up getting a brand new a set of two new games, and so whenever a new region comes out, and whenever we get a remakes of an older game, we end up actually getting faithful remakes of of, of the past games, while also getting a prequel game about the stuff that happens to be within that the same region that the remakes take place in, but decades or even entire century or two before her when before the time that the remake occurs. It's just like how Legends Arceus takes place long before Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, despite it being despite taking place in the same region. And, and so, if some, so there's really not much to hate because everyone has something that they can look forward to and enjoy. Yeah, I'm just one of the few people who see it on a more neutral standpoint who would just while also be knowing that I would still enjoy hey, all three of the games. And despite hey, Legends Arceus having different graphic design than Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Did and do I believe that megas are returning? Yes, I do believe that megas will most likely return. But I know it won't be guaranteed because we have because as I'm making this video, it hasn't been officially confirmed, and so for these new games, and so whether or not megas are returning. And I won't have my hopes up too high. Would I love for Megas to return? Yes, as I would love for it to return. But I know it's not guaranteed. It's like see it would be cool for Megas to return, and for Cynthia to have so Cynthia would have a Mega Garchomp. But maybe he changed her team up a smidge to be able to have deal with the fairy types since Sinnoh came out before the two entire generations before the fairy typing. So Cynthia's definitely going to need some. So Cynthia's team's going to need some tweaking, and if she's going to continue to be a threat and a real challenge because because she always had a reputation of being a really being one of the most difficult champions. And, I would also really love to see Infernape and Plan and Torterra getting a Mega, despite the fact that the JoJo starters still need Megas because it's like they pretty much got the short end of the stick. Like the Kendo starters got Megas and Gigantamax forms, and the Hoenn starters got had Megas. As the Galar starters got Gigantamax forms and Pikachu and Eevee and the Alola starters got Z moves. So yeah, uh, the only distinction and that the JoJo starters had for the longest time was being the only set of starters is that stayed that that all three stayed hit monotype, but all the way to from first stage all the way to third stage. And then they just lost that head and when the Galar starters came out, because it has Cinderace, Rillaboom, and the water starter, which I was named like Inteleon, like Cinderace, Rillaboom, and Inteleon are like all monotypes, which are pretty much the same thing for, which is the same with Meganium, Typhlosion, and Feraligatr. Like, hey, like the JoJo starters have always been like from Gen 2 to Gen 7, and the JoJo starters were the final stage JoJo starters were the only monotype starters. Like Typhlosion was even the only fire starter that was pure fire. All the other final stage starters had a secondary type. But that then was changed when Cinderace got revealed being the only being the second pure fire her final stage starter. Yeah. And the only time that there's a difference in between their typings is if Cinderace has its hidden ability Libero, uh, and is it using a move that is not a fire type that turn. And so Johto tends to have a raw deal, so I really hope that the next prequel games that we get is is based in Johto. That hope it because that would give us a chance to actually see how how to actually see how brought back to brought to life the three mysterious Pokemon that died in the fire that became Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. We would finally we would be able to get answers if that was the case. But I don't know if that will happen. But we can hope that someday we will get that answer. Yes, so. Until the next video, I hope you all have fun and make sure to subscribe to my channel and you like this video if you and to click the button how to turn on for notifications for any future videos as I upload to my channel also so you stay up to date. Okay, so until next time, have fun.